If a little green is good, more is even better. Now, back to Green is Good with John Shegerian and Mike Brady.
Welcome back to Green is Good, and we're so honored today to have JJ Yosh on the show with us today from Los Angeles. JJ is a TV star and an eco-visionary, and all he wants to do is educate and inspire people about the environment. JJ, welcome to Green is Good.
Well, thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
Hey, JJ, tell us a little bit about how you got on. You're a very young man. You have a huge experience. If I was to sit here and read your bio, we'd be out of time. Would take the whole 25 minutes. How did were you raised by parents that were very, environmentally concerned? But how did your whole journey start, and how have you made, such amazing progress up to now? You're so young.
Well, I was actually raised by quite the opposite type of parents, and I think what helps to get me so inspired and passionate about the environment. Growing up, I lived in a family that was more about staying in hotels, and I would say than camping out. And the moments that I got of nature, which were very little and far between, I cherished those moments, and and it wasn't until I actually got into college that I started to really get into the outdoors and going on hikes and climbing trips, and that's what really got me started to care about the environment and the outdoors. It was about just going on these outdoor adventures, and when I was out there, I experienced this feeling that I hadn't really felt before, and that instilled this level of appreciation, and I wanted to start protecting and inspiring other people to care about, the natural world around us. So it was just a matter of just experiencing it myself, and then that allowed me to start caring about it.
Wow. So now here you are, and you have now a television show that you're working on called Ancient Tomorrow.
That is correct.
And
yes.
Was this your idea, or was this Hollywood's idea? Who came up with this wonderful name and concept? Is this Mike and I were talking before we went on air, and what a brilliant idea and what a wonderful name. Who came up with this?
Thank you.
Yeah, and so tell us the genesis and tell us what you're going to try to accomplish on this wonderful show. It
was the original concept was something that I had created, and now it's kind of become my entire team's vision. But ever since I was young, I had this intense fascination with ancient civilizations, and just it was really just questioning, why am I here? I know all of us kind of have this desire to know, why are we here? What is the purpose of life? What am I supposed to do from now on until the day I die? And it's just been these questions that I just could never silence, and that was just this lifelong fascination towards those topics. And then I was very passionate about the outdoors and the environment. And a little over 2 years ago, when I was planning this expedition to Bolivia, I started to research one of these ancient ruins called Tiwanaku, and there was just all these mysteries surrounding the place on how it was built and how old the structure was, and that kind of led me onto this worldwide investigation on how all these ancient sites around the world are connected. And before this expedition, my focus was trying to find environmental solutions to our power plants and chemical plants, trying to clean up our industrial infrastructure. So I was always looking to the future to basically find environmental solutions. And when I came upon this ancient ruin, Tiwanaku, and other ancient ruins, I started to realize that maybe the answers aren't in the future, but they're actually in the ancient past. And maybe we weren't the first, civilization to have this global civilization and to use all this high-tech technology. Maybe there was a much older civilization that had utilized all that. So that's kind of how it all came about.
So that's a brilliant point. Maybe there's many things we can learn from past civilizations to help us as we evolve as a society and as a species. So share some of what you've learned in some of your expeditions already about what ancient civilizations can teach us now about being more eco-friendly today.
Okay. Well, one of the things that is constantly brought up to us is where is all the evidence of these ancient civilizations? I mean, we see the massive structures that they might have left behind, but when it comes down to their tools and just kind of the, more of how they built these things, we don't see really that much evidence of how they created these marvels. And one of the things that we've considered is that maybe their tools were so eco-friendly and organic that we don't see a lot of those remnants today because, they might have degraded into the earth. And if you look at a lot of these structures, they're built into the earth. And, they use stones and they build structures that last. When you look at our modern-day society today, our skyscrapers, if humans were to disappear today, they've had two different documentaries on, that the skyscrapers would last maybe 200 years at the most. And, we all know that our cars really don't last that long, and our computers, I have to replace my computer every 4 to 5 years. So what we've learned from them is that they built things to last, they built things into the earth, and we can really learn to kind of build more high-quality products in our own lives today so that we don't have to constantly replace things and use more materials to do that.
One of the things that brought to mind immediately when we were talking about a couple of shows that talk about that, you're probably referring, I'm thinking, to Life After People, right?
That's one of the documentaries, and then Population Zero is the other one.
Yeah, those are both just absolutely brilliant, and it really is funny because, JJ, we were talking about the difference between ancient building techniques and modern. And now we've got the ruins that you're talking about have survived for centuries and for millennia, actually, but we're not going to see anything like that with our modern construction methods.
Right.
And also, what you're saying is our society is based on planned obsolescence, which, of course, is anti-environmental.
Correct, yeah.
Hey, so how many episodes have you filmed so far of Ancient Tomorrow?
We've actually we're just now about to go into production. So
Great.
We haven't filmed, we've filmed promos over the last year and our trailer and our sizzle reel. But now in about a month we're going to be going into production and we're going to be doing 10 episodes.
Wow. So tell us about where are you going first? What's your first, what's the upcoming expedition? Where are you going and what's it going to feel like and what are you excited about?
Yeah, in the first episode, we're going to be we're actually staying local, domestically in the United States, and we're going to be visiting Chaco Canyon, the Blythe Geoglyphs, and the Palisades Glacier. And it's in the pilot or the first episode really is about how we how this expedition came about. And, we go to these different sites investigating this ancient civilization and the tools they might have used to build these structures. And then from there in episode 2, we'll be taken to Bolivia and Peru in the Andes where we then start to investigate the same concepts over in the Andes. And that's where season 1 is. So the rest of the episodes are in the Andes.
Wow.
And yeah.
Wow. And so talk about yourself now, as a young man living in the Southern California region. What do you do on a regular basis when you're not on one of your adventures? What does your green life look like? What does your daily green life consist of?
Well, when I first started to live green, and I think that really was, it's been over a decade. At first, when you're starting a diet or you're starting a new exercise routine, same thing with living green. At first, you're very excited about it and you want to do as much as you possibly can to live green. But then over time, it starts settling in. Hey, if I'm going to keep living this way, I need to do something. Need to do it sustainably for myself.
Right.
And so I had to find things that I could keep doing because there were some things that were really impractical. I think just maybe the way that I was eating. I was like trying to eat way too green, I guess, which was costing way too much. And
Right.
so, but what I do now to just kind of sustainably live green in my life, as that sounds, is I eat a lot of healthy foods. I go to Trader Joe's and I get and it's funny because in Trader Joe's, which is a store here in California, a lot of their foods are actually cheaper than your conventional grocery stores, and that's purchasing organic foods, and it's actually more I guess cost effective to shop there. And
right.
then as far as household cleaning products, I try to use all green or eco-friendly products because it's just a matter of I just don't want to breathe those chemicals. And then my car situation, I do a lot of carpooling, and that's mainly because you save money on gas, and why drive to Colorado, which is like 14 hours away from here, and spend all this money on gas when you can save. So it's mainly I've been trying to find ways to live green that are going to actually save me money.
Gotcha.
And that's been a motivation in my life too.
That is great. When you were going to college, you actually were already part of the green movement there, and you worked on stuff. Share with our listeners a little bit what you did with regards to the environment while you were going to school.
When I was in college, and this was about, like when I first started, it was about a decade ago, and this was about before the whole when we were trying to push the green movement at that point. Green wasn't this really cool hip thing to be at that point. It was not for another couple of years, and so it was kind of a process because we were trying to make green hip and cool at that point. And so I started this outdoor club called the EcoFriendly, and once they got out there, I mean, I would watch so many people come up to me, how can I do something for the environment? And I remember watching so many people around me change their majors, mathematics, social studies, to all of a sudden environmental studies or something relating to the environment, because they were so inspired by our outdoor activities that they wanted to now take that into their own lives. And from that, I created another group at the school called EcoLogic, which was this kind of environmental take action group that was attached to Excursion Club, and it also partnered with the other environmental groups at the school called EAB and Surfrider and CalPERG, so that we could work as a university to help with the environmental the issues that were there. So those were just some of the things that I kind of worked on. But it was mainly just getting people into the outdoors so they could really understand why they need to care about the environment. Because you really have to experience it, or you're not going to be able to understand why to care.
Well, did you find that when you got people into the outdoor environment, such as a similar experience to what you had, JJ, that there was a similar transformation, that basically the environment and that connection kind of made the leap for people, just like it did with you?
Yeah, if you spend a lot of time in a concrete city, you'll start to get sucked into this mental routine, and you'll start to lose focus. I mean, I experience that often. If I don't have nature around me in any way for a while, I start to forget about nature, and you just get kind of sucked into this reality in front of you. And then every time I go on a hike, after I've been kind of in this routine for a while, I wake up all of a sudden and I'm like, oh, yeah, this is why I'm here. And it's this very transformational feeling, and that's what keeps me going back into the wilderness, and which is why I want so many other people to experience that, because you forget, you don't even realize how important that connection is to nature until you reactivate it by going out there again.
Hey, if you just joined our show and you have a laptop or an iPad, or you're in front of your computer, we're on the line with JJ Yosh, who's an eco visionary and also an upcoming TV star on his new show, Ancient Tomorrow, which is just about to go into production. You can check out Ancient Tomorrow, www.ancienttomorrow.org, or, of course, JJ's site, www.jjyosh.com. JJ, talk a little bit about ancient technology and its potential to advance green energy like water power, solar power, or maybe even new power sources that we haven't been talking about typically in the media. What's your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on energy today and energy in the past and energy in possibly the future and what the show could possibly do is this. For a very long time, I'd say for the last century, we have been heavily dependent on fossil fuels. And the thing about fossil fuels is once there's going to be a point when we use it up. It's being renewed, but at a very, very slow rate. It took millions of years to create the oil that we use today. And so our society has been moving towards renewable energy, which I think is great. It's a step forward. But the thing about renewables, the heated debate about renewables is sometimes to create these renewable energies, it might actually take more energy than the energy it actually produces. And so this energy that we're looking for in our show it's not fossil fuels and it's neither renewable energies. It's actually a new type of energy, which I'd like to kind of call, an unlimited source of energy. We're basically trying to understand this technology that tapped into an energy that's always there. It works with the natural forces of the earth, and all we're doing is we're basically putting a receiver out there and harnessing it. So this is an energy that doesn't need to be renewed because it's always there, and we don't have to worry about it, not lasting for that much longer because it was there yesterday, it's here today, and it will be there tomorrow. It's always going. And that's as much as I can possibly say about the energy that we're going to be looking for. And if you want to learn more about that, you're going to have to watch Ancient Tomorrow this season. Yeah.
3 or 4 years ago, you spent 2 months in Alaska on the North American Sustainable Journey. What was that like? Explain what you got out of that and how that prepared you best for your new and upcoming show, Ancient Tomorrow.
The North American Sustainable Journey, which I did a couple years ago, was a very challenging trip. The whole premise of it was to travel from the lowest point of North America to the highest point in North America as eco-friendly as we possibly could. And we ended up partnering with a lot of companies from clothing to gear to food so that we could have all of everything that we brought with us be eco-friendly. And then along the way, we were going to interview people that could kind of give us more insight on how sustainability affected them in their own lives in the different parts up to Alaska, from Death Valley. And it was a very transformational trip. I think more with the people on the trip that I was with, because we realized that the mountain that we were climbing was more the mountain of working with each other and trying to understand how sustainability affected, not just our own personal lives, but other lives that we experienced along the way. So it ended up being that was probably the most transformational period I've had in my life, those 2 months. And it led me to be more grounded in understanding how I was going to need to approach the sustainability issue for other projects in the future. And the practicalities that come with it, because we were trying to do something that, was very extreme in the sense of living green. I mean, there was one time on the road where, we had these strict standards of eating, and we could only eat organic and local food a lot of times, and there was this one stretch of road that there was no organic food along the way, and we had to eat Cliff Bars, these organic Cliff Bars for 3 days straight. And I'm going to tell you, doing that with 3 other people, your moods start to fluctuate, and the personal mood swings were more of an issue than anything else. So that you have to watch out for that.
But you learn about yourself during, like you said, you take on a whole new, reflection on who you are and what you want to be, and I guess you really learn about yourself in those kind of moments.
Yeah, you definitely do.
Hey, you've led a very interesting and to most people a very cool life. But you're young and you've got a lot in front of you too, JJ. Who is your hero? We all need heroes. We all need people that we want to follow. Who are you looking up to as someone you want to follow in his or her footsteps in what your dream is and what your mission is here to accomplish with your great new upcoming show, Ancient Tomorrow, and all that you're doing?
Well, I look up to, the adventurer Bear Grylls just because of all the, really cool adventures he goes on. It's very inspiring just to see him pushing ahead, climbing all these different mountains and all the survival things he goes into. And I also really appreciate the steps that Leonardo DiCaprio has made in terms of, using his fame in a way that can help the environment. And so those are the two people that I'd say that I look up to. Cool. One environmentalist and one adventurer. They keep me going.
So if I were to tell you that Mike and I are going to get in our car and drive down to the Los Angeles area today, and we're going to go pick you up from your house, and we're going to drive to LAX, and money is not the issue, and we can go anywhere in the world for an adventure together, but you're choosing the place. Where are we going, the three of us?
I would choose Patagonia right away.
Really?
There's a lot of mystery in that area, and the range of mountains are just so beautiful. And a whole company, Patagonia, created after that mountain range. So that's where I would take you guys, because I know that that area has such a special power to it in terms of just the environmental energy, and I think it would really transform our lives and really wake us up to help the world.
Well, Mike and I are going to put that on your bucket list. Mike, what do you think of that?
Well, I think it's great, and I'll tell you what, JJ, I just really wish there was room for John and me to be part of your cast because I'm looking at the cast lineup, and this for your new show, Ancient Tomorrow. I really can't wait till that comes on because I'm going to be watching it. So is John. But boy, it'd be so cool to be a part of your cast. And if you'd like to find out more, you can go to www.ancienttomorrow.org. This looks like an eco-adventure reality series. The cast looks fantastic, and I'm sure the plot lines are going to be amazing.
Yeah. The thing about this adventure is it's a real-life adventure that has actually already started. So, it's not like when the camera's on, we're on all the time. And so that's kind of the thing about it. I mean, last night I met with the other scientists, and we're already doing it, so it's just now we're just turning the camera on and we're recording ourselves is really different.
Hey, listen, what? We're getting down to the end of our show, unfortunately, JJ. But on this show we talk a lot about sustainability and the three major themes of sustainability: people, planet, and profits. What does, as an adventurer and as someone who really is a leader that a lot of people are going to be watching and continue to watch, and you're going to be followed, what does sustainability mean to you specifically?
Well, I like to relate everything to the mountains I climb. So sustainability to me is, when I'm climbing a mountain, sometimes I can be very ambitious and I want to climb, this really difficult pitch, a couple pitches in one day. And the thing is, if I burn myself out the first day climbing that mountain, I'm not going to be able to finish that climb the rest of the days. And I remember the quote that Bear Grylls had said, if you want to climb Everest, you need to take one baby step at a time. And that's really how I've been kind of approaching my own life, is you just have to do one small step at a time, and either that be living green or that be any goal that you have in your life to make a change. Because if you do it gradually and you kind of enjoy the gradual process of it, then you're going to be able to sustain that way of being for a much longer period of time. And I think that whenever we do things very intensely and crazy right away, we can't keep ourselves going for that long of a period of time. We only have so much energy, and we need to be able to use that energy wisely. And so that's how I perceive sustainability.
Wow. And on those profound and memorable thoughts, JJ, Mike, and I are going to say thank you so much for coming on our show today. Also, we wish you all good luck and safety and in your travels and your adventures. And what we'd like to do now is invite you back after you're done taping all of your eco adventures and filming Ancient Tomorrow. We'd like to have you back on before the show airs to further discuss what people are about to see and share what your thoughts are after you filmed it all. So we just want to say thank you again for your time today. You know, again, we had JJ Yosh on today. You can look him up at his great website, www.jjyosh.com or www.ancienttomorrow.org. He's a TV star, an eco-visionary, and he's making it happen. JJ, you are truly living proof that green is good.